Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow, leading the next generation of football fans live on the Hard Count Football YouTube channel. And of course, right here on 1252 Sports Chicago. Guys, we are back to live episodes. Don't worry, at least for right now, this episode is not being recorded. I appreciate everyone bearing with me last week. Like I said, I graduated. I have a lot of fun stuff going on. But I'm doing the show live today. So that's very exciting. And like I mentioned last week, on the flip side of our topic from last week with our early AFC record predictions, this week we have our early NFC record predictions. So in just a little bit, I will be joined with Harry the Greek, probably around 9:10 if I were to guess, like you said. But yeah, I say we get right into it because I'm going to go through these and I want to get his thoughts on every single one of them. So with that being said, let's get right into it, starting off with the NFC South. So finishing first in the NFC South, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going 13-4, 5-1 in the division. Do I think this team is worse than they were last year? Yeah. Do I think this team will still win 10, 11, 12, 13 games and win this division? Absolutely. Because the reality, Tom Brady's back, right? They have stability at the quarterback position, which we didn't think they'd have before Brady was back during that month or whatever that he was retired. They have a lot of holes, this team. They do. I think we see wins, right? I think we see 12, 13 wins, but I think these wins are less dominating than we've seen in years past with this Bucs team. I see, more. I see them utilizing the run game more, utilizing Leonard Fournette, slowing down the ball, kind of eliminating that no risk it, no biscuit that Bruce Arians had, who was obviously no longer the coach, right? Todd Bowles is the new hire, and I really like the Todd Bowles hire. I think that he was dealt a bad hand in New York, and I think that now he finally has a chance to prove that he's a good coach and can be a good head coach with all that talent. A big problem with Todd Bowles in New York was that you transfer from Rex Ryan to a Todd Bowles, you kind of lose that loud voice. Bowles isn't a loud guy, and I'm not necessarily saying he has to be, but on this Bucs team, you have a guy like Brady, you have a guy like Mike Evans, you have a Leonard Fournette. These are guys who use their voice in the locker room and don't really rely as much on the head coach, or they don't need to rely as much on the head coach to motivate them. Listen, the Bucs have holes at tight end. They do, with Gronk retiring for now. Their lead tight end is Cam Brate. I don't love that as a tight end one. Besides Mike Evans, right? Chris Godwin's not fully healthy yet. He's not. He's coming off that ACL injury. That's tough for anybody to come back from. But sports medicine is getting better, so I do think Chris Godwin will bounce back. But what week will that be is the question, right? Mike Evans will be their wide receiver one for now, right? But if Chris Godwin isn't available week one, then it kind of moves into, Tyler Johnson then becomes that wide receiver too, and it starts to get a little messy. And I don't love that if Tyler Johnson ends up being the wide receiver two for a couple weeks, at least until Chris Godwin comes back. I'm not a fan. And they have holes at safety. They lose Jordan Whitehead in free agency. I know they still have Antoine Winfield, but they don't have that second safety position. It's not as strong as it was last year. And in a division where teams love to pass, especially the Saints, which we'll talk about in a second, you need strong safety play. So they're kind of relying on whoever the replacement for Jordan Whitehead is. And I don't think he will be as good as Whitehead was. So yeah, I like the Buccaneers at 13-4. In second, I got the Saints finishing second in the division with a record of 11-6, also going 5-1 in the division. It's a strong record. It is a strong record for the Saints, but you look at last season and when this team was healthy with their quarterback play, and you see that Jameis Winston played really, really well last year when he was in. He was kind of dishing. He played really, really well. And this year now he's got more weapons, right? Last year, no Michael Thomas. And he was working with whoever, whoever the wide receiver one, whoever the wide receiver one was for New Orleans last year. Now he's got Michael Thomas back. Now he's got Jarvis Landry. Now he's got Chris Olave, a rookie out of Ohio State, who I think has the biggest year one out of any receiver, purely because I've said it time and time again, his talent and the way he plays with his deep threat ability fits perfectly with Jameis Winston's arm and fits perfectly with what Jameis likes to do. And Jameis will finally be able to have a guy who can catch that deep ball again, which he didn't have on the Saints last year. So I think that helps Jameis and helps Olave a lot. They're better defensively. The Saints, they added Tyrann Mathieu. That's a big addition for the safety team. And then, obviously they did lose Sean Payton, but I think it's kind of no Payton, no problem. Dennis Allen comes in, D coordinator there for the last couple of years. Same system, same protocol. We know it works. And I think the Saints have a successful season this year. So with that being said, I want to get Harry in here. He's sitting in the lobby. Let's get him in here right now. Harry, it's been a few weeks, man. What's going on? How are you?
Not bad, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's get your thoughts on this. So I had the Buccaneers finishing 13-4 to start off the NFC South, and I have the Saints finishing 11-6. What are your thoughts on both of those picks?
You know what? Those are really, really almost dead on. I'll be honest with you, Jacob. But if you talk to Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, they think the season's completely in disarray because of no Rob Gronkowski. I was listening to your points, especially about the defenses, in the secondary. I think the secondary is going to be a lot better than what people thought because of one single addition with Akeem Hicks and getting rid of Ndamukong Suh. That's going to allow more pressure up the middle, which is going to force opposing quarterbacks to throw the ball a little bit quicker. And you know what happens when a defensive line gets pressure on a quarterback? It can make a mediocre secondary look like Pro Bowlers. I mean, you see that year in, year out. But I agree with the amount of wins. But I'm going to tell you right now, that team's only a couple of losses away from letting New Orleans take that division.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is absolutely competing for this division.
They were over 500 with an absolute dismal position being at quarterback after Winston went down. That's very concerning. Don't sleep on New Orleans this year. Atlanta and Carolina, they are exactly who we thought they were, in the words of Mr. Dennis Green.
Yeah. I had the Falcons going 3-14, 1-5 in the division. And the thing is, I don't even hate the Falcons, Harry. I don't hate the talent that they have there. I don't hate their coach. This is a tough division to be playing in, and they have a tough schedule. They play a lot of good teams, man.
In all due respect, there's two really good teams in that division.
Yeah,
it's actually weaker than the NFC North.
Yeah, and I think Marcus Mariota should be okay. But this team isn't going to win many games. And I think Kyle Pitts will be okay. I think Drake London will be okay. This is going to be an okay team that isn't going to beat any sort of
They got talent. Atlanta's got some talent, and they're going to put up 30, 35 points a game. But they can't stop anybody. That defense is abysmal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about 30, 35 points. I like Marcus Mariota. Yeah.
It's a point that I'm trying to make. I mean, Matt Ryan.
I like Marcus Mariota. I just don't. Can he go toe to toe with, most other quarterbacks in this league? No.
No.
But he deserves another chance after, when he got in Las Vegas, playing well. So I do like that, and I kind of think they're paving the way for Desmond Ridder now. Now that they drafted him, I think that Mariota is kind of just a fill-in, which sucks because I like Marcus Mariota, but it is what it is. It's a business. And then in the last, I got the Panthers. I got them going 2-14, 1-5 in the division.
You got them winning. You actually have them winning 2 ball games.
Yeah. Listen, it's a bad team.
What, are they beating Atlanta twice?
Yeah, maybe. I know one of them is against. One of them's against Atlanta. I forgot what the other one was. It was.
How did I guess that?
Yeah. This is a bad team. Bad QB play. They don't have really. I mean, Sam Darnold is. We know what Sam Darnold is. I don't know how you can go into the season with Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback this year. It's hard to compensate for that, no matter who else you have, right? Because they have McCaffrey, they have DJ Moore, they have Robbie Anderson. But listen, you can't make up for bad quarterback play, right? Especially, this isn't, that West Coast offense. We'll talk about the 49ers towards the end of the show. But, this isn't a quarterback friendly, per se, offense like that West Coast offense is. So, yeah, they're also lacking secondary talent. They have an okay pass rush, but they're lacking linebacker, secondary, corner, whatever you want to call it. This is not a good team. So 2-15 for the Panthers. So as a recap, we got the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers finishing 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. I think that could be pretty accurate for this upcoming season. Let's move into, where do you want to go? Let's go to the NFC East. How about that, Harry? How about to the
Yes.
NFC East? I got the Eagles winning this division. In first, I got them going 12-5, 5-1 in the division.
That's ballsy.
I'm a big believer in the Eagles, as you know.
I know.
This is the reason is I'm a believer in Jalen Hurts. I like this defense. I like this coach. I like Nick Sirianni a lot. He really grew on me after I watched some of the Eagles games last year. This Eagles team was a playoff team last year, Harry. They made the playoffs. They got blown out in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs, right? It wasn't like they won 3-4 games and now all of a sudden I'm saying they win 12.
Look, they were respectable. They gave up 385 points. Okay,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
scored 444 and they finished the game over 500. There were a couple of games early in the season where they absolutely got their ass handed to them,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a couple of games where they won by a big margin. So to have a 55 plus point differential for points scored versus against and only being one game over 500, that kind of spells a little bit of a roller coasters type of season. They definitely turned it on in the second half, where Dallas scored 530 points and only gave up 358. I don't see that same Dallas team this year. I think you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Dallas, but this is with Philadelphia. This is a dangerous wide receiver duo, with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and I think we saw Devontae Smith play well last year. I think that with him not having the burden of being that wide receiver one, which we know AJ Brown can handle since he got into the league in Tennessee, I think that makes Devontae Smith play better. All the weapons are there for Jalen Hurts. He has a good arm. Despite what people like to say, the kid has a good arm. The kid knows when to use his legs, and he's playing for a roster spot next year. Because he's on a short leash in Philadelphia. As we all know, this team is, they were in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. They were in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. And this is, they're ready to move off of Jalen Hurts if he doesn't play well in this upcoming season. They're quick. They are very, very quick to do it. He needs to prove that he can win games. If he wins 12 games and wins a playoff game this year, Harry, how can you move off of him next year?
Well,
right?
Let me tell you something. This team, you're absolutely correct, but this team is built to win now. They
Yep.
drafted two kids from the University of Georgia that are absolute studs. To go along with Fletcher Cox and everybody else, the rotation, especially on this defensive line, might even be almost as good, if not better, than what Tampa Bay is going to put out there this year. That defense is supposed to just light people up. Forget about the offensive side of the ball. But I promise you, the Philadelphia Eagles are not done. They will find a quarterback that will push Jalen Hurts because they know they have to win this year. But you're right. He don't get it done this year. It's bye-bye Jalen Hurts. The
Yeah.
running experiment is over, and they will go after a quarterback. I don't think they're going to draft one, Jacob. They're going to have to find one because when you draft a quarterback, it's a 2 and 3 year program before they become something. That window to win the Super Bowl is very, very, very small. They will get themselves a veteran. And you know who would have been a really good fit there? You could say all you want, totally different type of style of quarterback. I'm telling you, Indianapolis got him. That was Matt Ryan. You want to talk about it? I mean, I would anoint them right now, first, second, or third choice to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC if they had Matt Ryan.
First, if they had Matt Ryan
to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, top three choices if they had Matt Ryan, because that's the question mark. That's how good this Philadelphia Eagle team is going to be. They solidified the offensive line. Forget about the defense. It's just going to be nasty. They are going to get after you. It's going to be visions of a late 80s, early 90s defense when they had Buddy Ryan as their head coach. Offensively, the question mark is the quarterback. I'm sorry. It's just like having Lamar Jackson back there. You just don't know if he's going to be able to throw the ball. But my gut's telling me he's going to have a phenomenal year this year, and he's going to learn how to be a pocket passer.
Yeah, I think if we look towards next year, and this is a topic for another day, but listen, you look at the quarterbacks that might be available next year. If this season goes, and I know I'm kind of spoiling it, but if this season goes the way I think it's going to go for this specific team, and let's say for one way or another, Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, I think it's very, very possible that we might see Kyler Murray in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform next year.
Oh my God.
I think that's very, very possible. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Wow, that's strong. But I do agree with you with Philadelphia. I think they win this division. It's asking a lot because Dallas is stacked. But you know what?
So Dallas actually I have going 11-6, man. I have them I have them finishing 11-6, 4-2 in the division. Because the Cowboys, they lost Amari Cooper. They did, but that they're fielding pretty much the same team they did last year, right? With slight upgrades on the offensive line from their draft.
Are they gonna get Robert Quinn? Because sources are
So
telling me
I don't know. I don't know if they do.
sources are telling me that that they're in negotiations with the Chicago Bears, and they're stipulating that they just can't come to an agreement on what they want to give up for him.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry. I think he's worth a second round pick all day long, if not a first round pick. He led
yeah.
the league
Robert
last
Quinn's
year, and
great.
yeah, he led the league last year in sacks. And what are they lacking? They're lacking another premier pass rusher in Dallas.
Yeah. So on the offense, at least, you have CeeDee Lamb being that wide receiver one, who
Yep.
I think he steps up and I think he's just as productive, if not more, being that wide receiver one for Dak Prescott. Michael Gallup as a wide receiver two, very underrated guy. I think he has a big year. Dak played well last year. We know what Dak Prescott is. We know that he can win games, right? He's
Right.
not proving anything to us. We know exactly what he can do. We know exactly what he will do. It's everything else, right? This whole team has something to prove, whether it's the coach, whether it's Mike McCarthy, whether it's Ezekiel Elliott, whether it's this defense. It doesn't matter, right? This whole team needs to prove something, and I think they do. I think 11-6 is the record. They need to prove that they can make it past the first round.
Right.
Right. Right. It's not that they can just make the playoffs consistently. It's that they can win in the playoffs.
Jacob, you weren't even born. It's almost
Yeah.
double your age since they've actually won a playoff game with the Dallas Cowboys. It's almost kind of comical, to be honest with you. And they're still America's team. They're still the bright star of the NFL. They still get the prime. This team could finish dead last in their division. They're still going to have a Thanksgiving Day game, just like Detroit. And it's just it's almost mind-boggling. I don't know. I think the lure of the Dallas Cowboys should have fizzled out back in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, the Cowboys are they are what they are. This is the same team as last year, and let's just see how they produce. That's really what it is. In third, I got the Washington Commanders. Ready for this? Going 6-11 in this division.
Wow.
3-3. Or 6-11 in total. 3-3 in the division. What should make me believe in this team, Harry? Right? Carson Wentz? I don't think so. Carson Wentz, he's not going to take this team to new heights. He's not going to carry this team to anything more than Taylor Heineke was doing, right? At least Taylor Heineke could run and he could use his legs. Carson Wentz is going to run. He's going to snap both his ankles trying to walk to the bench. Come on now. This is Carson Wentz needs to be, and he needs MVP caliber Wentz back from 2017 for this team to even compete in this division, right?
Is Heineke even still on this team?
Yeah, he is, and he should be the starter. But guess what? You pay your guy big money. That's what you have to start him. It's bad. It's a bad.
By game 5, Tyler Heineke will be your starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's not even going to be because Carson Wentz is playing bad. It's going to be because Carson Wentz can't walk. It's.
I'll tell you another thing. I like to interject, especially with Washington. They have position issues on this team, especially at quarterback at QB1. But their biggest issue is the elephant in the room is the allegations against Daniel Snyder. And I'm going to tell you right now,
that affects the team, man. That affects a lot.
That'll affect the team. This team, in my opinion, I don't know what the over and under is on it. If it's anything over 5 games, bet the under on this team. I got the New York Giants beating the Washington. Say hi to Bandit. Hey, Bandit.
Hi,
do you like Washington or do you like New York? Oh, he likes New York better than Washington.
I don't, but we'll get into that. I don't like Washington, but I really don't like New York this year. I also listen in Washington. I don't like the idea. I respect Ron Rivera for what he's done in his coaching career, and I like Ron Rivera.
I love Rivera.
I don't like this thing I'm hearing now of that. There's going to be a running back committee in Washington with Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and now Brian Robinson Jr., who they drafted. That's ridiculous. I don't want to hear about it. You can't put a running back by committee with Antonio Gibson. He is so talented. And you just let Antonio Gibson work. The man will get yards every time he gets the ball. I don't understand taking the load off. I understand using J.D. McKissick on a lot of downs because he's a great receiving back. But you're drafting a guy, you're immediately expecting him to come in here and be just as efficient as Antonio Gibson after Gibson was a premier back in the league for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I really like Antonio Gibson. And I like Brian Robinson. I just don't think he's on the same level as Antonio Gibson is. I don't.
I do have a question for you, and it's unrelated, but it is
Sure.
related to the Washington Commanders. That is their name this week, right? The
Yeah, it
Commanders.
is, at least for
Okay.
today.
My question is, if they find that Daniel Snyder is guilty of what he's being accused of, do the good old boy network at the National Football League actually cover up what's going on? Does
No,
that
no. It's too public at this point, Harry. I think they get rid of him. I think they're
well
already
they
looking to.
but hold on, but they didn't get rid of Robert Kraft. Does he use the same attorney?
Robert Kraft, I think, to be fair, Robert Kraft is a little different.
Well,
Robert
it is. Yeah, there was it
Robert
was an
Kraft is just
isolated
like
it was
him
only
being silly.
he was caught on an isolated incident here in Florida, and to each his own, but you're still a public figure. And that
Sure.
leads me into the Deshaun Watson,
Yeah. I,
portion of things. I mean, I don't think Deshaun plays a down of football this year.
I guess, yeah, we'll
There's
get into.
so much to talk about with this, but does Daniel Snyder, my question, and I'd love to know to a couple of people that
Mhm.
are listening out there, if he is caught, do you think they actually remove him from football? Not what
Yes.
you're feeling they should do, but do you think the National Football League actually gets rid of him?
Yeah, this is too public of an incident at this point, Harry. You can't cover it up. You can't cover up what Daniel Snyder's done. It's a very public thing. Um, I think they're already looking to get rid of Daniel Snyder. I do. I think they're already looking. And if I'm being honest, getting rid of Daniel Snyder would be the best thing for this Washington team.
Yeah.
Not only because he's a weird, creepy guy, but because he's a bad owner. He's a bad owner. He hasn't fielded a team that looks like they should be competitive in years.
Well,
Right?
I got to tell you, man, is he doing anything different? Not on a personal standpoint, from a business standpoint, that what Mr. Jerry Jones has done in Dallas? They're literally two identical figureheads when it comes to operating their football team, with the exception that Dan Snyder has actually taken a little bit more of a backseat to his football operations, where Mr. Jones, he still continues to be the man in the front. What's
Mhm.
your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jerry Jones is a bit of a better owner than
Oh,
Daniel
no, I
Snyder.
do. I'm just talking about from the standpoint of having so much control in the team, because they're the only two owners that I know of that have that much of an impact
Yeah.
on their team
Yeah.
when it comes to everyday business decisions.
Um, sure. Yeah, I think so. I think that I still like Jerry Jones over Daniel
Oh, I
Snyder.
do too,
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah. And then if you want to get into this Deshaun Watson stuff, I agree. Deshaun
I love
Watson,
it.
if even one of these, I talked about it last week, but if even one of these accusations towards Deshaun Watson is true, he should never play football again. This is he should never see a football field. This is a you have to did you read about any of this stuff? It's disgusting. Some of this some of
It's
the
pretty disgusting, but then again,
it's
to
gross.
each his own. Okay, there's fetishes and then there's idiots. Okay, I don't know which one it is. I mean, you're a multimillionaire, you're a good-looking kid. Really? That's all I'm gonna say is really?
He needs to I don't know. I think that he's done. He's that's like it's nasty. I
All right,
can't.
so it takes me to the elephant in the room here, and I have to know your feelings on this as my cat is wagging his tail and trying to lay on my computer. I'm so sorry about that. Do If you're Baker Mayfield and he doesn't play football, do you still go up under center for this team?
I'm looking at the Browns. I'm looking at Andrew Berry. I'm looking at all of them, at this whole team, and I'm giving them the bird right to the middle
You
of the
have to,
field
right? I mean,
because
right?
if you're the Browns, right now, here's the thing, because now you're the Browns, you trade for a guy with 26 sexual assault allegations against him. You pay him the most guaranteed money in NFL history.
Hold
You
on. Do you
give
hear
up
that?
a
Do you hear
whole
that?
ton of draft picks, your whole future for this guy, and then you burn the bridge with the first quarterback to take you to the NFL playoffs in however long, right? I don't care how bad Baker was last year. I don't care.
He was hurt.
I don't care. He was still he still took this team to the playoffs. He's still the first good quarterback and first stable quarterback this team has had since God. I don't even
I
remember. It
I
has to be.
agree. But do you
I don't
hear that
even know
noise
the
though?
name.
Do you hear that noise?
What?
There's another sexual allegation coming through the pipeline. I could hear it coming.
Oh,
Deshaun, don't worry, it's coming.
Deshaun. I just come on now. Like this is This is ridiculous. If you're the Browns, this is the most disgraceful thing that Browns management has done in the last 30 years, maybe more. If Deshaun Watson gets suspended this year, which he is, and gets suspended for more than this year, this is the single worst trade in NFL history, maybe sports history.
It has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be. And so who do you laugh at? You gotta laugh at the Cleveland Browns, and you gotta hail the Houston Texans on this one as being whoever that general manager is, and I don't know who it is. Whoever that general manager is, you have to understand one thing. He might go down as the best GM ever to suit up for a team, to be able to fleece a team out of that many draft picks.
It was a leasing.
For all that crap that's looming over the head of one player. Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Are you kidding me? It's just unbelievable. I'm sorry that I got you off the rails on that one, but I had to go there.
I don't even think it's praising the Texans GM. I think it's laughing in the face of the Browns, because come on, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, how dumb are you to trade for this guy, right? Trade for this literal predator, literally wanting a predator to play for your football team with
allegedly
unsettled allegations. Unsettled, right? They were still out there. They're still out there, right? I know he paid off 20 of the women, but like, there's 4 still out. There's more than 4. Come on now. Come on. Shame on you, Cleveland. Shame on you. Sonny Weaver Jr. would never do that.
No, he wouldn't. You know what? Our opinions do not necessarily express the opinions of 1252 Sports.
Yeah, this is all me.
This is all really, man.
If I want to go off the record, whatever. Not forget, these are my views. That Deshaun Watson, if any of these are true, should never play football again, and this issue should be past football and looked at in the court of law. Like, this is like it's disgusting. The dude is a creep and a predator. And, like, it is. If they're true, he's a creep. Any of them are true. I don't care. Even if it's just one of them. Come on, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. All right, but I guess we'll get back into this and talk about the New York Giants, because I
got to go back and just say one thing. I have to be honest. I got a massage last week, and during the middle of the massage, I just started cracking up, going, "Is this how it happens?"
Yeah.
Is this how it happens?
Honestly, Deshaun Watson's gonna ruin.
But I got to tell you, he was a really nice massage therapist, because I made sure I didn't have a woman working on me, because I did not want anything to come around for this.
Now you got to watch out, man. Deshaun Watson's gonna ruin massages for everybody. He really
and they're good, man. Massages are great.
They're helpful.
Yes, they are. They get the blood flowing again. All right, I'm sorry. Let's go back on the rails. I mean, let's get back on the train track here.
All right, so let's talk about the Giants. I got them going 4-13, man. I do. I have them going 4-13 this year, 0-6 in the division, and before you yell at me, let me tell you why.
There's no yelling, hey, buddy. There's no right or wrong answer for that division, especially for 3rd and 4th place. There just isn't.
This is a so I'll say this: the Giants are kind of a mess, in my opinion, and overall, they had a good draft. I like that they drafted Evan Neal. He's a monster, most pro-ready tackle. I like that they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau. Love Thibodeau. I was clear about that before the draft.
I thought he was one of the best players in the entire draft.
Yeah, sure. And I also like this kid Wan'Dale Robinson they drafted in the 2nd out of Kentucky, the wide receiver. I
don't know much about him.
He's good. He's a good player. But I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones, right? And either are the Giants. They don't pick up. They don't give him the contract extension. They don't do any of that. They're playing for a quarterback next year. And I'll say this: Brian Daboll will be a good coach in the NFL. He will be a good coach, right?
Year 1.
And but if from what I'm hearing is true, and he's planning to use Daniel Jones like he used Josh Allen, which would, i.e. throwing the ball 40 times a game, he's going to crash and burn. It's not going to go well. And Daniel Jones will be out of there. They also have holes at guard. They do. I like their tackle positions. I like Andrew Thomas played well last year. I like them getting Evan Neal. They have holes at guard, and they have no cornerback too. Right now, their second corner is Cordell Flott. So whatever. And this is a division with a lot of good receivers. So get on it. Cutting James Bradbury was stupid, in my opinion. I don't know. But you had to also because Dave Gettleman sucks at his job.
Yep.
And
Tell us
ruined
how you really feel.
salary cap. Yeah, I mean that's the reality of it. So I don't know. I don't like the Giants this year that much. I think I think that all the pieces around, right? You see Kenny Galladay, Saquon, I think honestly has a pretty good year.
I don't think Saquon starts year. I don't think Saquon Barkley is a Giant by the season start.
Really? That would be interesting.
I don't. There's a lot of rumblings that they're interested here in Tampa Bay for him.
Ugh,
Even though that they re-signed Leonard Fournette.
I don't like that.
There's that would be a hell of a signing here in Tampa Bay for him, and that would give Brady exactly what he's looking for, that receiving running back out of the backfield. But if they don't get rid of him, I'm telling you now, this team may go winless, if not win maybe one ball game. And I'll tell you why. Because of the one statement that you made, and I've already made this point. Brian Daboll is going to be a really good coach, not in year one. If he's forcing Daniel Jones, who I'm not blaming, by the way, can't do the job. I'm going to blame the coach in this situation because he doesn't like to run nothing but a 5-man protection.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to chuck the ball all over the field, and the New York Giants are not set up for it. They have a running back, they got decent receivers, but they definitely cannot pass protect. They have shown that. They have a propensity of just really bad things just happening to them, especially with that type of offense. If they solidified that offensive line, then I'd say, yeah, they'll have a decent amount of success in the first year. But I see this being a very, very dismal year. And if they try to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game, Daniel Jones doesn't make it past game 6. He will be often injured, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's move into the NFC West, Harry. All right.
All right.
Los Angeles Rams. I got them winning the division once again. I got them going 11-6 though. Not as good as they were last year, but I got them going 11-6. 5-1 in the division. They lost Von Miller. Von Miller was a massive piece of this team. They lost Andrew Whitworth. However, the guy replacing Andrew Whitworth, Joe Noteboom, was actually very efficient last year. He's a very, very good tackle. And I don't think there's much of a fall off on this offensive line. They also added Allen Robinson, who is a guy that I kind of gave him the Stafford treatment where I said, put him on a good team, give him a good quarterback. He's going to show why he's an elite receiver still. And now he has his chance. Now he finally has that good quarterback. So we'll see if he can prove two things. One, that he can be efficient, and two, that he can stay on the field. Because those are two very, very important things. Because availability is the most important thing that you can have in the NFL today. Listen, this team is still going to be good. That's the reality. They're right. It's a lot of the same team. They're still going to that Super Bowl winning team. They're still going to be good. Cooper Kupp will still be good. He might not have that Triple Crown season like he did last year, but he'll still be solid. He's still going to be Cooper Kupp. And him and Stafford will still have that connection. And Sean McVay is still the coach. So I expect this defense to be pretty, pretty solid. So I like it. I like the Rams going 11-6, winning this division, Harry. How about that?
I actually got them going with the same exact record that they had last year. I think they're going to win 12 ball games. I think they're going to be 12-5.
Yeah, it's the same. I see it.
And a lot of people don't realize that this team was very, very, very good offensively. And I think they were the second highest scoring offense in the National Football League. Might have been. I think Tampa owns the crown on both of them. Most points scored, least points given up last year. But they respectively scored 460 points and gave up 372 points. They need to improve on that 372 points being given up because they got gashed a lot last year.
Yeah.
And for a defense with that many stars to get gashed, that's an issue. But that was year one. I think they're even going to be a lot better this year defensively. The team that's going to give them a run for their money is not going to be Arizona. It will be the 49ers this year. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be very, 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 very hard fought. You have to remember, this team went 10-7 and had very mediocre play at quarterback position, and they were often injured last year, and they really turned it on last year. They also scored over 400 points last year on offense. 400 combined points. And gave up 365. That defense is really solid. Arizona, I'm not a believer in.
I'm just
not.
So I have the 49ers going 10-7. Also
10-7, same exact record.
10-7 again, 2-4 in the division though. I don't think so.
Do you have Seattle winning 7 games this year? Because I don't.
So I'll get into that. I'll get into Seattle. But I don't think Trey Lance blows anyone out of the water with his production this year. I don't think so. But he doesn't need to. Is the point here?
Right, because they have a running team.
That Shanahan offense is so quarterback friendly. Them having Debo back, from what I'm hearing and whatever, the buzz is that he still wants to get traded, but I doubt he ends up getting traded, and they end up kind of mending that relationship, at least for this year. I think Debo will be playing for San Francisco, and strong run game as always, and then that strong defense as always makes this the easiest possible offense for any new quarterback. And for Trey Lance, who I think is good, but I don't think he has elite arm talent. But he can still win 10 games because of the surrounding pieces, right? As far as the Cardinals go, I have them going 7-10, but going 4-2 in the division.
7-10.
7-10.
Okay, hold on. Back up.
Sure.
What happens to Kyler Murray then?
No. So I'll get into it.
You really think he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle? Boy, you're really ahead of your steps there.
I don't know if he's going to be an Eagle. I just think he's not playing for the team next year. But I think the Cardinals offense will score a lot of points. I do. I think that Kyler Murray's going to have a great year in terms of fantasy. And I think he's going to score a lot of points for this team. But this defense is going to give up even more points.
Wow.
This defense isn't impressive to me. I like James Conner. I really like that they have James Conner back there. I think that this is kind of a revitalization of his career after Pittsburgh. I love it. I love what James Conner is going to do. Kyler, here's what I think. I think Kyler starts the season hot. They have easy games at some point. They have some hard games in the beginning, but then it mixes in they mix in a Panthers and a Seahawks. So those are 2 wins. But they also play like the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Rams. So it gets tough. He's gonna start hot, but he's gonna cool down like usual. Kyler's playing for a contract. We know that. He's playing for a contract extension, and he's gonna show why he should or shouldn't get that big money extension. If they finish 7-10, like I think they do, Kyler's not putting on the Cardinals uniform again next year. If they forget 7-10, if they don't even make the playoffs, if they don't win a playoff game, even if they make the playoffs, if they don't win a playoff game, we might see Kyler in a different uniform next year. I think that they are kind of realizing what Kyler is. And I like Kyler Murray, and I think he's a very, very talented quarterback with a big arm and one of the prettiest spirals I've ever seen a quarterback throw. But he's tiny. He is. He's tiny, and he hasn't been able to really get it done when he needs to, right? And be that clutch guy. I like to call Kyler Murray the red zone machine, because he's always on red zone. He's always on red zone during the regular season. He's always scoring a touchdown in the second, running it in from 25 yards out. But the game's always really like they're losing games or it's too close. I don't know. I don't think this team wins. I think 7 games, 7-10, 8-9 is kind of my projection for the Cardinals this year. And especially with DeAndre Hopkins serving that 6-game suspension, or 6 or 7. I don't know. Yeah. But that doesn't help them for the first couple weeks either when they play these really good teams. So we'll see what happens with the Cardinals. And then the Seahawks, Harry. Oh, the Seahawks. I think, Harry, what do you think? You think I'm nice today? I think I'm feeling nice. I got heated about the Deshaun Watson stuff, but and the Snyder stuff, but I think I'm pretty nice today with these teams. I've been pretty nice. So I'll give the Seahawks 2 wins. 2-15 is what I have for them. 1-5 in the division.
Who do you think has the best chance of going winless this year?
The Seahawks. Here's what I'm about to say. The Seahawks have the best. Seahawks might go 0-16. That wouldn't surprise me, but I'm feeling nice, so I gave them 2 wins. I wrote in my little notes here that 2 games is incredibly generous. They have no quarterback play at all, whether it's Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Neither of these guys are gonna single-handedly win games for this team. This defense isn't good enough to win games. Right, they have good wide receiver talent, but it means nothing when you can't get them the ball. What should make me believe this team will win any games? What do they have? Right, an okay run game, maybe, but they have no offensive line, right? Besides Charles Cross, who is a rookie and we don't know what he's going to be. They there's nothing there, right? They have no there's no offensive line. There's no reason that this team should make me believe that they're going to win any games. There's no reason. Pete Carroll. Oh, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll hasn't shown me that he can be a good coach and game manage in, I couldn't even tell you since they made the Super Bowl. And even then, he couldn't do it, right? Pete Carroll, he's not a good game manager. He's really not, right? He had Russell Wilson carrying him constantly to the playoffs, right? And now we're going to kind of, this is going to be Pete Carroll's last year coaching, right? At least in Seattle. And after Seattle, I think he ends up just retiring. But, like, there's no reason why this team should win more than 2 or 3 games at most. I don't see it. I just can't see it happening. What do you think?
You know my feelings on Pete Carroll. He shouldn't have been a coach this year.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, if this team has 2 wins like you do, like you're saying, or even 3 or 4, maybe even 5 on a good part of the season, I think the fan base is going to call for him to lose his job because of the fact that they gave up Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Sorry, that's just my personal opinion.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's him, it's Schneider, it's this whole team, it's this whole office that I think is pretty clueless. All right, and finally, I saved the best for last, at least, because you're on the show. The NFC North.
All right.
So I'll start off. Who's going to win the division? I still think the Packers do. Right? I still think the Packers win this division, but I do think it's close. Why are the Packers going to win the division, Harry? Well, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the reason why. He's going to win / be competitive in every single game, no matter who the team is, because that's just how he is. That's the way he plays. But Jacob, Devontae Adams is no longer a Packer. He's no longer going to be there. What's going to happen? There's a downfall in the offense. Okay. Why did we never have the conversation about Aaron Rodgers lifting up some mediocre receivers, making them very good, as we did with Tom Brady, right? Why do we never have to do that? Because Aaron Rodgers has had that wide receiver talent, at least one star wide receiver, his whole career.
Yeah, but he's also, he's also not the GOAT. Okay,
no,
let's just
not
be
Tom
honest.
Brady.
Okay,
He's not Tom Brady. He's also,
he doesn't win the playoff games.
He can definitely make it work. Allen Lazard is going to be incredibly productive this year. I think Allen Lazard's a great receiver. And this kid, Christian Watson, they got from North Dakota State, I was a big fan of him. I was telling everybody that they needed to draft him before the draft. And the fact that the Packers got him was massive for this team. They'll both be elevated by Aaron Rodgers. They will. Both of them. Both of their levels of talent. Because that's what happens when you're playing with a good quarterback. And this defense is still very talented, right? They lose one of the Smith brothers, but you still have Jair Alexander. You still have the other Smith brother. You still have Adrian Amos. You still have Rashawn Gary. You still have all these guys who can. And you draft this kid Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, who I love to add him on the defensive line. I'm telling you, this Packers team is still going to be very good, and they're going to surprise a lot of people when, it's going to be very surprising when people are dying to pick up Allen Lazard and Christian Watson in their fantasy leagues, because all of a sudden they're scoring 2 touchdowns a game, and winning, and they are winning games. So I don't know. I love the Packers this year. Still, I do. 12-5, I think, is a fair record for them. Well, are you gonna respectfully disagree with me, Harry? No, all right. Packers at 12-5. Packers winning the division, but it's close, and it's close. It's
sorry.
Close.
I feel better now.
It's close, and who are they close with? Who is this team competing with?
The Bears.
No, it's the Vikings. Yeah, it's the Minnesota Vikings going 11-6, 3-3 in the division. Kirk Cousins might not be great, but he does enough to win the games, right? You have Dalvin Cook still back there. You have Alexander Madison. So no matter who's playing running back,
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some technical difficulties. For Jacob is actually well, see, he doesn't realize it. It's technical difficulties. He just doesn't realize that the Chicago Bears play in this division. I don't know. I don't know. I think what he was trying to say, the Bears were probably going to compete for the division. But I mean, Papa Bear Hairless, forgive him for he not know what he does. He's a New York Jet fan, Lord. We understand. Back to you. Hey,
So Kirk Cousins.
I know you're Jewish and you're not Catholic, but I need what do they call them? 20 penances. What do you got to do? 20
Yeah.
Hail Marys and whatever. I don't know.
But Kirk
What?
Cousins, I think, does enough to win games for this team. He does just enough to win games for
He
this team.
sucks.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
He stinks.
Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen both are great weapons for him to have. Both of them are going to continue to produce. Justin Jefferson right now is a top 3 receiver in the league, probably. He's incredible.
The Minnesota Vikings win the division this year.
It's certainly possible. Green
Bay is going to
11-6. So Green Bay, it's going to be between them.
I think Green Bay might suffer a couple of injuries this year, just like any other team. You can't really predict it. They've been relatively healthy the past couple of years. In order, and I can really just define this really quickly for you. Then it's Detroit, and then it's the Bears finishing in the cellar this year. Unless they have a miracle, an epiphany, and find themselves about 2 more offensive linemen, this team will be really good. If you get rid of Robert Quinn, you might go winless this year. But I'm just saying, I'm not bitter, am I?
I'll get into the Bears, and I'll tell you. If that's what you're thinking, my prediction's very, very generous for the Bears. But in terms of the Vikings, Irv Smith, I think the loss of Tyler Conklin is not big. I think Tyler Conklin's great, but I think Irv Smith is due for a breakout year. And by breakout, I mean make people know your name. That's what he's going to do. And they still have a solid defense. They do. They have a really, really solid defense in Minnesota still. And then in third in the NFC North, Harry, I have the Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears going 5-12. 3-3 in the division. I also have the Lions finishing 5-12. But why are the Bears? Why are the Bears ahead?
Wait a minute. So you got the Bears losing one more game than they won last year?
Bears losing. What do you mean?
You got the Bears winning one less game than they did last year.
Yeah. Yeah. They lost a lot of pieces, I know. This is not an impressive roster, though. 5 wins are being generous. I feel like I'd come on and everyone would crucify me for saying 5-12 here.
If the defense plays the way they're capable of playing, I promise you, this team will run the football and they will be very efficient on offense. They're going to be in a lot of tight games. That's just, I'm just saying. I look, they're only a couple of pieces away on offense to be respectable because they're going to run the football. They have arguably 2 very, very, very good running backs.
They do.
And I think Cole Kmet, he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's going to be forced into that position. That's just my opinion.
I'll say this, Harry. Besides Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields has no help for the most part.
It's got Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet's going to have to be blocking 95% of the snaps because you have no offensive line. He's gonna
keep reminding me. Just keep reminding me. I feel really good about being a Bear fan. Thanks, Jacob.
I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I love Cole Kmet. Go back to last year. Go to all my predictions. I love Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet was the guy I was telling everyone to pick up constantly, and he won me some fantasy weeks. He did, but he's gonna need to be blocking most of the time. This is and Darnell Mooney. I love Darnell Mooney so much, but he's all they got. He's all they got.
No, buddy, you're forgetting about that running game.
I know about their running game, man. This is a good running game.
It's a sick running team.
But this is a first-year head coach with a bad roster and a developing quarterback. That is not a good mix.
Nope, I agree.
That equation. That does not equal wins. They also lost their whole defense, right? I mean, they lost everybody, and it just and the blows just keep coming, man.
Man, in Roquan we trust. But I'll tell you what, I love the safety that they drafted. Let me tell you something. This kid's going to be really Jacoby Brister, I believe is his name.
Jaquan Brisker, he's good.
Jaquan Brisker.
From Penn State, he's a good player.
Let me tell you something. They are ranting and raving about him in camp right now.
But you know who Jaquan Brisker is not going to make up for the loss of?
Khalil
Akeem
Mack.
Hicks. And
Akeem Hicks.
And Khalil Mack. And probably Robert Quinn. So
and Roquan we trust. Okay, can we move on, please?
Oh, God. You want to talk about how bad the Lions are going to be? Would that make you feel better?
Oh yeah, just
how the Lions, I'm generous, and
I feel so much better. Please,
how the Lions are going to finish with the same record as the Bears, and maybe more wins than the Bears. I don't know, but the Lions are getting better, but 5-12 is still realistic for the Bears. For the Lions, sorry,
blah, blah blah blah.
The Lions are getting better, but 5-12 is realistic for the Lions. At least the Lions are getting better, right? The Bears are not. The Lions are 5. I'm sorry, the Lions. I love their draft. I love their wide receiver core of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and then DJ Chark, which was a very underrated signing that they had in free agency.
They always said misery loves company. Jet fan.
The defense needs work. They do. They need some more talent defensively, but they have a very underrated offensive line. The Lions.
I think they do. I think they got a really good offensive line.
Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell. This is a good team. Good offensive, good underrated O-line. They're playing for a quarterback next year, similar to the Giants, but Jared Goff is trying to win, and Jared Goff. We'll see what he does.
Right. Hey, all right. So that brings me to another segment that I have to take you off the rails on.
Sure. We're done.
Of the teams that you had that are winning over 10 games this year,
let's see.
Who has the best chance of not doing that, meaning they're only going to win, maybe even go below 500? Who do you think that is?
The 49ers, probably.
I say the Green Bay Packers.
Well, with injuries, I don't know. I think if someone gets injured, like an Aaron
of the teams that you have finishing with 5 wins or less, who do you think has the best chance of actually being over 500?
I like that. Finishing with 5 wins or less?
Mm-hmm. That have a chance of winning more than 500. Because every year that happens.
I'll say, you know what? I'll say the Lions.
You know what? That's a really good point. I'm going to give you a couple of teams. You ready?
The Lions and maybe I have more in the AFC. I have my where's my AFC one?
Hang on. I'm going to give you 2 of them in the NFC. The Bears.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons.
I don't like the Falcons. I don't think so.
I'm going to tell you right now why. Because if this team, for some reason, decides they know how to run a football and they can play defense.
You know what? And the Giants.
Yeah, and the Giants. Yep, and the Giants.
I think the Giants. If Daniel
Jones, there's always a couple of surprise teams. Not so much from falling off the hill, huh?
Take this. Let me grab my AFC predictions real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Not because that they. I don't like to talk about just the teams that are going to fall off the hill. Let's talk about the teams that aren't projected to really play that well this year, that have the possibility of increasing their win totals. It happens every single year. Let's look what happened to the Cincinnati Bengals. My Lord. I mean, how do you go from worst to first and then go into the Super Bowl like that? I mean, come on.
So who do I have? I'll give you some of the AFC too. Teams that I have winning less than 5 games that could easily jump up. I actually don't have any. Do I have anyone winning less than 5 games?
Really?
Huh. I don't think in the. I mean, I have. Let me see here. Yeah, no. I mean, I have the Browns winning less than 5 games, but they're not. It's whatever. I don't know. I can give you teams that I think I have winning over 10 games in the AFC that could easily not.
Go ahead, give it to me.
The Ravens.
Okay.
And the Titans. Both could easily not win 10 games this year.
I'm gonna agree with one of them. I'm gonna say the Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Ravens. So, which team in the AFC do you have to be the sleeper?
My sleeper team in the AFC is. I mean, do you want to? The Jets. I mean, the Jets, and I'll say the Colts. Those are 2 very.
I agree. You took the words right out of my mouth. I said the Jets would have a much, much better year than they had last year. Matter of fact, I have them finishing over 500 this year. Bet
Me
the
too.
over.
I have one
Bet
game.
bet the over. This team's going to really sneak up on some people, even in that division. Miami. Okay,
Miami's. No, I have them going
hold
8.
on, hold on. And I also have the Colts being my sleeper team. The sleeper team that could, believe it or not, make it right to the Super Bowl. Everybody's sleeping on this team. I cannot stress enough how much I believe in Matt Ryan and this offense. Oh Lord, it's going to be something to watch.
My worst to first team in any division, though, the easiest one to pick is the Broncos. Because I mean, yeah, but
Zero chance. You know that, right?
I don't have them winning. I didn't predict them winning the division. I have them
God,
finishing.
if that happened, because let me tell you something, you should get 10,000 to 1 on that happening, because I mean that means that the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs all have to, like, pardon the expression,
Yeah,
shit the bed
yeah.
for that to happen. Oh my God.
All right, Harry. Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you?
How about if I give some people some
Oh,
picks
absolutely.
today?
Picks.
Hey, we're having a
86,
really good
86 and
season.
44.
86 and 44
I'm
right
sure you picked the Astros last night or
No,
yesterday.
I didn't. I was, let me tell you something. If there's a prop bet that the New York Yankees get not just shut out, but hitless, okay, to throw a no hitter against them, bet everything,
Yeah.
including the kitchen sink, that just doesn't happen again this year. That's arguably the best team in baseball. It's almost sick what they're doing right now. But I got 3 picks. 2 of them are favorites. One of them is an underdog, and I don't normally do this. Small money, good return. Bet the Yankees on a big comeback. Take the White Sox at home with Dylan Cease. It's not going to lose 4 in a row. And bet the crosstown rivals with the New York Mets on the road today. I got New York, Chicago White Sox.
All right. Fair enough. I like that. You know who I like? Let's see. I got the games.
What do you like today,
I'm gonna
buddy?
give out a baseball game today. How about that?
You are?
Yeah.
We're all riveted at the chair waiting for this. I love it.
I know.
Come on, buddy. Give it to me.
Yanks by 1,000 all day. Yanks by 1,000. Nasty Nestor on the mound, taking out the dirty Astros at home. I love to see it. Get out of here.
Nasty Nestor. Anyway, thank you so much for having me on. Unfortunately, I haven't been on. It's been quite busy.
That's been me. I wasn't even live last week.
No,
man.
not just that. I haven't been on, and I haven't had an over or under show in quite a while. I'm striving for Friday evening. I'm going to do the best I can. My 9 to 5 right now is keeping me extremely busy. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe out there, guys. You can catch me on the over-under right here on 1252 Sports and on the Sports Web, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central with my co-host, Mr. Peter Blake. You can also find me on the Sports Web on Monday and Wednesdays with Mr. Peter Blake, the host. And on Sunday mornings, probably my favorite time, hanging out with my little brother over here, Mr. Jacob Charnow. The man with the plan. I'll tell you later. Deuces, my brother. Much love. Have fun at the beach today. And go Yanks, Mets, and White Sox today.
Yeah, sure. Go Yanks. Peace. All right, guys. So with that, we're going to wrap today from the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Special thanks to Harry the Greek for coming on, as always. Love talking about all this with him. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about my NFC predictions. Harry says his 9 to 5 job's working him like crazy. My 9 to 5 job right now during the summer is I'm going to finish the show. I'm going to go back to sleep, and I'm going to head over to the beach. So whatever it is, enjoy your summer. Enjoy this week. Keep it moving. Follow me on Twitter at Jacob Charnow, Instagram at Hard Count Football. Subscribe to the Hard Count Football YouTube channel and check out all the other shows from 1252 Sports Chicago. A lot of great stuff here. I'll see you all next Sunday morning.